Hello, and welcome to episode 61 of Chorus Place. I'm so glad you've chosen to join me for today's conversation. In today's episode, I thought it might be fun to share some facts about myself that you may not know. As always, if you like what you hear, please leave a review and/or comments, follow my podcast, and tell your friends. Also, please follow the podcast page I've made on Facebook. If you'd like to contact me via email instead of a Facebook message, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org. If you are new here, welcome. I'm your host, Cora, and I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. Today, I want to share some different facts about myself that you may not know about or be aware of. If any of them come as a surprise, let me know in a message or a comment. Let's go ahead and dive right in. The first fact that I want to share is that even though I may generally seem very extroverted/love being around people, I also enjoy being alone sometimes and being in a quieter environment. Sometimes too much noise and activity can get to be too overwhelming for me at some point, so it helps when I have a balance between calm and crazy. However, I also have trouble when it's quiet for too long or just not seeing friends for a long period of time. The second fact is that I don't like some weird textures in food. I will sometimes eat things with a weird texture, but it's not always a favorite. I don't really like to eat cereal with milk usually. Sometimes I do, but it's only one kind and only occasionally. Another texture I don't like as much would be banana, but they're okay in muffins or smoothies. A texture I like to feel in my hands is raw meat. I'm not sure why that is though. Touching wet cereal with my hands would bother me more. Another texture that bothers me is feeling wet hair that naturally fell out during a shower. Touching wet hair that is still in my head is fine though. Sometimes I can also get weird about straight peanut butter. However, I do enjoy peanut butter with chocolate though. The third fact is that even though I might seem really outgoing on the outside, I sometimes struggle with making friends. It varies depending on the situation. I used to be able to make friends really easily, but I think that as I've gotten older, and as I've gone through more friendship issues, that has gotten harder for me. I think that's because when my trust gets broken by someone, it makes it hard to know who I can trust. It can still be easy at times for me to make friends though, but not all situations are easy to make friends in. The fourth fact that I want to share is that I usually talk a lot when I'm around people, so if I seem abnormally quiet, distracted, or lost in thought, it is not at all that I'm trying to ignore people or make it seem like I don't care. I just might be going through something personal that I'm trying to process. Maybe I'm just tired, or maybe I'm feeling overstimulated. I don't usually talk with just anyone about struggles in my life though. Only a very specific group of people. Sometimes I may talk with others about it, but only if I feel comfortable doing that and only if the situation isn't a huge thing. The bigger the situation, the harder it is to talk about with other people. Sometimes it can even be hard to talk about it with people I'm closest to. That's mostly with the much bigger situations when that happens. It's not that I don't want to share those with others, I just don't always feel comfortable sharing right away when it's something really big or hard to talk about. I usually feel like I have to process it and sit with it alone at first, and then eventually try to share after I've had time to let it sit. Fact number 5 is that I don't really have a favorite kind of chocolate. I like any kind of chocolate. I love chocolate-covered strawberries, though. As far as other candies, it kind of depends. I don't like cinnamon or ginger candies, though. Some of the ones I do like are fruit-flavored, and some of them are chocolate. Some of them are even mint, too. I also enjoy a combination of chocolate and fruit together, or sometimes chocolate and peanut butter. I don't particularly enjoy peanut butter by itself, though. That might be a texture thing, too, but I'm not sure. Fact number 6 is that I enjoy musicals a lot. I have seen many musicals in my life up to when I record this. I can't say for sure how many I have gone to or watched as a movie, but I know it's definitely quite a few. I think that's probably why I enjoy musicals so much. Also because I listen to a lot of music too. I think I have loved music or musicals ever since I was little. The musicals I went to weren't necessarily super huge ones, but they were still super fun to go to. I usually went to them with my dad, or sometimes my family, but I have gone to a couple of musicals with other people as well. I'm not sure if I have a favorite musical. It depends on the day and my mood. One of my favorite musicals is Sound of Music. I also like Greatest Showman. Sound of Music and Greatest Showman are both movies, but they are great musicals. I have other favorites besides those, but I think those are my two top favorites as of when I record this. Fact number 7 is that I really enjoy writing a lot. I actually am in the process of writing a couple of books as I record this. I don't know for sure at this point if they will actually get published, though, so right now it's just a hobby more than anything. It's a really fun hobby, and I enjoy any time I get to write. I do struggle at times, though, to know what to write about. That's probably the hardest part for me, usually. Once I figure it out, it's typically a bit easier. It just may take a while sometimes, depending on the subject I'm trying to write about. Fact number 8 is that I don't like spicy foods as much. If it is really mild, then I might be able to eat it, but I don't generally like really spicy things. I would probably not eat really hot peppers, but usually a mild sausage or pepperoni on a pizza is okay. If there's something to go with it to kind of tone down the spiciness, that can also be helpful too. Fact number 9 is that I don't like minty toothpaste. I like fruit-flavored toothpastes more. I kind of like bubblegum flavored. At a dentist I used to go to, they had chocolate-flavored toothpaste, which was my favorite, and that's what I picked, I think, pretty much every single time. I know that probably sounds really weird, or kind of gross even, but I guess I just really enjoyed that flavor, and that's why I always picked that one. Fact number 10 is that I like to journal my prayers at times. I don't always do that, but I think it seems to help at least a little bit when I'm trying to process a hard situation, or if I can't sleep because my mind is going too much. I'm not always great at journaling in general, but I try to do it whenever I think about it and if I'm able to. I think it's mostly the remembering to journal part that I struggle with most, but I also struggle a lot at times with knowing what to write. I go through times where the words flow really easily, and other times where I stare for a long time at a blank page or document on my computer because I can't find the right words. Fact number 11 is that I am more of a night owl than I am a morning person. I can be a morning person if and when I have to be, but I usually like to be up later and get up later. Early mornings are not necessarily a favorite thing of mine at this point in my life, meaning as of when I record this. Maybe that will change as I continue to get older, but I don't know. Fact number 12 is that I feel like I am more of a country girl than a city girl in some ways. I mean, I like cities and being close to things or people, but I also enjoy seeing a lot of stars at night and the scenery that being out in the country can provide. I haven't necessarily had a ton of country exposure, but I've had at least a little bit throughout points in my life. Fact number 13 is that I'm not really an athletic person. I find it more fun to watch than I do to participate. I used to do horseback riding and swimming though at one time, which I enjoyed. I am not really a runner though. One of my favorite things that I like to do at this point in my life is go for walks. I have done bike rides in the past, but I prefer walking over bike rides. I don't always get outside for a walk, but thankfully there are walking videos on YouTube that are helpful for those times. Fact number 14 is that I sometimes even drive myself crazy when I am talking to myself and having a full-on conversation with myself for several minutes straight. That was a more recent discovery of mine, as of the recording of this episode, but a very funny realization. Sometimes, talking to myself is very helpful, and other times, it makes me crazy after a little while. Fact number 15 is that I don't enjoy thunderstorms usually. Mild ones are usually fine and don't bother me though. It's the more severe ones with tornado potential that seem to bother me more. I know that some people love the sound of thunderstorms, but it's not really my favorite thing in the world. I know that it is a normal thing that happens with weather. I just don't find them as fun for me. If it's just a mild thunderstorm with low threat, I'm fine. I think the sound of just rain is more enjoyable for me, generally. Fact number 16, the last fact that I will share in this episode, is that in some ways, I kind of prefer audiobooks over print books. I mean, reading print books is a fun thing to do, and I do like it, but I tend to lean more towards audiobooks at times. I think that's because I like being able to do multiple things at once sometimes. I find multitasking to be a little easier for me. I usually listen to music and do different things on my computer at the same time, like writing for the podcast, but I don't do that when I'm editing for the podcast though, or if I'm recording. Editing and recording are a couple of the things that I can only do one thing at a time. I hope you enjoyed these facts. Let me know if you'd like me to do a part 2. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please follow, leave a comment, and a review of my podcast if you haven't already, and please follow my podcast page on Facebook so you never miss an update. If you have any verses you'd like me to read on a future episode, or if you have any topics you'd like me to talk about, you can email me at corachin@mailbox.org, or you can send me a message on my podcast page on Facebook through the link in the show notes, and I will get back to you when I can. Hope you tune in next week for episode 62.